everyone, and welcome to another video. It's been a while since my last video, primarily because it's been a rough week, a busy week, and just generally I've not found the time to record as I would like. I also haven't really had time to set up properly today, so I'm sorry there isn't a black background, and I'm sorry that maybe everything's not just as polished as it usually is. I didn't really know what I was going to talk about tonight. I just wanted to make a video to let you guys know that I am very much still dedicated to making videos, etc. for Mermaid Mythos. It's been a day, or in this case, been a week, or maybe even been a month. But things are changing, I think. It all comes down to stress, right? And everyone has their stresses in life, but it's about the bucket idea, right? So if you have a bucket, and you have, for want of a better term, a bucket with a lot of holes in it, right? And so the bucket fills, and there's a certain point where the bucket is at tolerance level, right? And there's certain filters off that make you less stressed. For example, let's say you game that opens that little nozzle, the stress, like a stress valve, and lets some of the water out of the bucket, right? So the bucket will never get full because you have this coping mechanism. You might also have friends who you spend time with and they de-stress you as well, or you've had a really particularly good day that brings down the level as well. But sometimes, no matter how many valves you have, how many precautions you have in place to stop you from getting to a stressed point, you're going to get there, right? Sometimes it's because a big dump of water you just get flooded instantly, and those we get over, right? But for me, and I imagine a lot of those of you who watch ASMR as one of those valves, so to speak, and it is a very good valve, luckily. We have anxiety and stresses that kind of continue, that persist, and continue, and we go into a kind of state of constant, dulled, but constant anxiety and stress. And that, I've got to be honest, to a degree, is me. I know I kind of already admit that, but I think it's important to say again, because I worry about so much, and ASMR, of course, does help with this. I have certain ASMR artists that I watch who, maybe not affirmations per se, but discuss life and say, hey, these things are okay, these things happen, these things change, these things happen to everyone, and that does help. But it's these things of like, am I doing enough? Am I doing things right? Am I giving 100% to something? Am I being the best version of myself? Why am I stressing about stressing? Like, I have that a lot, where I would prefer not to be so concerned with, for example, how people perceive me, or perhaps how someone might react to what I believe and personally think, or even to me standing up for myself. And so, a lot of the time, I actually don't say these things. I let things fester. I stress about stressing. And then my tactics become avoidance. My tactics become being lesser at something to avoid the situation. For example, I know there's situations where, because I didn't want to deal with conflict, I've basically removed myself from the situation, even though it was my role to be in that situation. It was my responsibility to be part of that situation and its resolution. Now, sometimes, and actually a lot of the time, I get past that because I know that I want to be better than that, but sometimes we don't, right? And so that's kind of why maybe this video didn't go a little bit earlier in the week and as a more fully formed video, because sometimes it's very easy to go, okay, I'll accept mediocrity, I'll accept not doing that, I'll accept avoidance rather than doing this wrong. And to me, because how do I put it? ASMR, to me, it's funny because as regards the actual content output, it's easier, right? You don't have to edit anything necessarily unless you want to. You don't necessarily have to do a whole lot. You don't have to set up a game. You don't have to play a game. You don't have to have any. And this is not me saying that ASMR isn't skillful. There are a lot of channels out there that do take ASMR to like these whole levels, but you don't need to have any requisite skills, right? If you can whisper and you have a nice voice, generally, or maybe not even a nice voice, you can kind of get through, right? If that makes sense. So, ASMR in that way seems a lot easier to make content for, right? You talk into a mic, whispered, or you tap on a book, or you soft spoken, or you do all these other things. You just discuss. You bare your heart a little bit to the internet, of course, but I hope you guys get what I'm saying. I'm not dissing ASMR, and I'm not saying that ASMR artists don't do amazing work. There are some productions that are made in ASMR that are film level, maybe even beyond film level. But what I'm saying is that generally, as a concept, ASMR is a simple concept, right? Especially on like the basis level. But what I'm trying to say is that I struggle from the alternate perspective, because in terms of the content itself, that's very easy to make, but I worry about, okay, do my viewers want to see me, the green screen up, so that they have it blocked out, or do they want to see this background, or do they prefer soft spoken, or do they prefer whispered? And there are certain points of times where that just paralyzes me. And I'm trying very hard to get past this, and this is why I'm being so open and honest about it, because I don't want people thinking, oh, this guy clearly isn't interested in actually pushing forward with what he's doing. I am. I care about it a lot. I actually really am happy that this is a channel that I devote time to now. But yeah, it's one of those hard things where how do you tackle anxieties that are deep set as regards not just the content, but like almost everything we go through, right? I feel like there's not one day that I can think of, apart from if I'm like, sat at home, not at work, and I've decided to like, okay, I'm not doing anything today. I don't really have anxieties because, don't get me wrong, I think forward motion is good, right? Having some kind of like, oh, I need to do that is good. And I think sometimes negative emotions around doing certain tasks can actually be positive in the long run, right? Like, if I don't do this, I'm going to feel guilty. So you say, right, we'll get up and let's work, let's not feel guilty, right? Like, the negative emotion is like your reason to not fall into the habit, right? But sometimes that's not enough, and sometimes you feel guilty that you would feel guilty. And it's such a roller coaster, and I know there'll be so many people out here who feel the same. And so when I feel it, and I know I kind of have talked about this before, and I know I'll probably talk about it again, but I want to be honest, I want to be truthful, I want to be open with you guys that I don't have great days all the time. I have bad days because I feel like that's one of the great things about the ASMR, right? I'm here to help you, right? I'm here to help you relax or sleep, or just enjoy some time where you're not thinking about all these crazy things, or if you are, to somehow relieve that, right? So, for me, I feel like if I'm to do that, my content also needs to match that. And sometimes you want a video that distracts you, right? You want a story. You want something that pulls you from this world and into another. Because that's great, right? I do it. I read books. I mean, there's a million different books behind me. There's a million different worlds I jumped into, gaming wise, and all that type of stuff. But what is also true is that sometimes the best remedy for how you feel is to hear that someone else feels the same. That's why, when celebrities, for example, as a random example, come out with having had this illness or this struggle or this issue in their relationship, it changes the narrative for us as a whole because we see this person who is of a high stature going through what we are going through. If they're personable, and that's what I want to be to you, personable. I want you to know when I'm stumbling because then your stumbles might just feel human, and that's all we are, right? We're all just human, and so I'm not going to make this video go on too much longer because this is more like a, hey, I'm kind of in a weird headspace, but I made this video because I want you guys to know. I know that I still care. I know I'm still there to make videos for you guys. Just maybe a little bit slower this week than I have been previously. But yeah, you guys, I hope you have a great night's sleep, a great day's relaxation, or any kind of combination of those. And we'll be back soon with more fun content. Thank you guys, and sleep well. Have good times. Speak soon.